Sometimes when you think about dog training, this is exactly what you see. You see really rigid movements, the dog following the instructor, and really specific body language that's clear and concise. But it doesn't always look like that. Sometimes trying to train your dog looks something like this: the overexcitability and not knowing how to calm them down. This is the happy medium that most people are aiming for: engagement, focus, and willingness to learn. At least that's what I look for. And you might be sitting at home wondering to yourself, well, how can I get there? Well, I'm here to tell you. Typically, dog trainers will offer consultations, and most of them are going to be free. And this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you have about dog training. Consultation has a couple of different benefits, most of them being for you as a dog owner. And you absolutely should take advantage of this when you can. These are the 5 essential questions that you should ask any dog trainer that you have a consultation with. And this is from a professional dog trainer. But before we begin, I want to go over some terms that you might be hearing in the dog training space. 2 biggest ones that you probably hear are positive reinforcement and balance training. Positive reinforcement is the method that some people use to train dogs, where they use rewards instead of punishments. And balance training is when they use a mix of both. Training tools such as prong collars, e-collars, harnesses, muzzles, etc. are used in training by some trainers. With e-collars, the word that you'll hear is stim. And stim is the vibration or the electrical current that the collar provides. With both prong collars and e-collars, you'll hear the terms positive punishment, negative reinforcement, correction over and over and over again, because that's how the mechanisms work. Dog trainers who use these kinds of tools for punishment follow a method called least invasive, minimally aversive, or LEMA. This is where they will use the least amount of aversion possible to get the desired result. Now, the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behaviorists do not use this approach. They have actually taken a firm stance against LEMA and the use of training tools in training. As with the AKC and the Whole Canine Good Citizen program, they do not permit the use of these kind of aversive training tools. Some other words that you might hear are recall, long line, off leash, and loose leash walking, and these are all skills that dogs use when they are on leash or off leash. Recall is the ability of a dog to recall to a word or their name, come back to their owner, and sit and wait for instruction. Off leash work is when dogs are off their leash. They may have a traffic handle for emergency, but they are off their leash and they're responding to their cues off leash. Loose leash walking is when dogs are walking on a leash and they're slack in the leash. And the last couple terms you might hear are settle and place. And settle is the act of when a dog settles down and they bring their head to the floor. They're laying down and they're getting comfortable. A place command is where a dog goes to settle down. And now that I've gotten that out of the way, we can start the actual part of the video. The first question that you should always be asking any potential dog trainer is, where did they get their education from? Are they certified by any organizations? Are they endorsed by anything? Are they a member of anything? This is where you're going to start. And you might find that some trainers function on experience only, which is great. But many dog trainers will focus on continuing education, just like with teachers, therapists, and things of that nature, because we want to be held to that kind of standard. Now, you would hope that every trainer that you'll come across is going to be educated and experienced, but that's not always the case. Some people really don't understand dogs that well, and they think they do. And that is really dangerous for us all. A reputable trainer may mention a mentor in a breed club, a kennel club, or a training club that they had growing up or before they became a professional. Some people might be certified by a credible organization like the AKC or the CCBDT or IABC or something like that, where they're accredited. Others, like I said before, will focus on the continuing education after they've already gotten their experience. And a dog trainer's answer to this question will give you a lot of insight into what kind of dog trainer they are and what their philosophy is when it comes to dog behavior. Next question that you're going to ask in your consultation is, how do you incorporate play into your training sessions? And this one is huge because not every trainer will. Training your dog should not only be fun for you, it should also be fun for your dog. And it's not fun when they're asked to do the same behaviors over and over and over again and they get bored. This is why dog trainers will use play as an energy release and as a stress release after they do a series of good behavior. Or sometimes play is used as the reward itself. It just depends on the dog and what the trainer is doing that day. A reputable trainer will always be prepared to end the session with a play session as an energy release after the dog has done well. This is because focusing with intent with dogs is very, very, very difficult for them, and it can build up this energy that needs to be released at the end. Otherwise, you're still going to have a wild dog when you go home. A reputable trainer will also encourage you to use play or toys as a stress release or redirection of arousal in high distraction environments where your dog is likely to react negatively. That redirection helps to avoid the behavior that you're trying to avoid, to eliminate. Some dog trainers will use toys and play to reinforce teachable skills that they've already learned to make it more fun, and that's exactly what should happen. This will give you insight into whether or not this dog trainer thinks of training as a punishment for a dog or as something fun that a dog and owner should do together. General rule of thumb for me is that if you're frustrated during training, your dog is also frustrated during training. So it's equally beneficial to avoid frustration for both. This is a huge one. You should always ask if that trainer has ever been bit by a dog, and if they have, how did they handle it? What's their procedure for reporting dog bites? In case you didn't know, most states have a 3-bite rule, which means if a dog has bit 3 times, they have to be put down. If a dog bites even once and breaks skin, they're labeled as dangerous, and they have special restrictions and heavier fines if they get loose. Even though dog bites come with the territory of working with dogs, many insurance companies will not cover dog bites created by the nature of the training, like in protection or bite work or anything like that, where they are inciting the response. Insurance companies will, however, cover dog bites that happen as a result of a behavior gone wrong, as a redirection, training gone wrong, whatever the case may be, as long as it was unintentional. The problem is that when somebody goes to the doctor or to the hospital for a dog bite, they want to know which dog it was that did it and if they have a rabies vaccination. And if a dog doesn't have a current rabies vaccination, they have to be put on a 14-day quarantine. So if that trainer doesn't ask for your dog's rabies vaccination prior to petting them, that is a red flag. Because of this, a reputable trainer will have a risk prevention system in place already and have a reporting protocol for dog bites that happen during training, even if it's just internal and even if the bites don't break skin. Any reputable dog trainer is also going to be honest about their capacity for handling aggressive dogs. Not every trainer has the experience or the education to handle aggressive dogs, and they will tell you that. And they shouldn't have to. That's what a dog behaviorist is for. A reputable trainer will also know their local laws regarding bite incident reporting and vaccinations. Like I said, it's pretty mandatory everywhere that a dog has a rabies vaccination. Asking this question will give you a good guide into seeing how they handle stress in their sessions, and how they handle dogs who might be a little bit reactive or unpredictable. Some trainers have a 1-bite policy and then the dogs are kicked out of their training program. Other trainers are more lenient. It really just depends on their individual comfort level. Another important question that you should ask is if they teach puppies as well as adults, and how do those sessions differ? And they should differ. Puppies and adult dogs learn very, very differently, so it's important that their sessions are structured differently as well. I know for me, when I teach puppies, I have emphasis on owner education and socialization before I even touch obedience. This is because puppies go through a lot of different developmental changes in a very short period of time, and socialization is the #1 part of raising a well-mannered dog. Some trainers refuse to teach puppies altogether because they think that they're a headache, and that's totally valid. But it's important to ask this question just in case. A reputable trainer will have an emphasis on socialization and a positive reinforcement for puppies under 1 year old. And I say under 1 year old because that's how old they need to be to get their AKC Puppy Star in puppy class. A reputable trainer will also be able to know and understand the different developmental stages of puppies and be able to teach accordingly. And with that, they should be able to directly assess whether a puppy is experiencing a fear period as a cause for training regression, because puppies will at some point regress in their training. It's just a matter of figuring out the reason why, and sometimes that's the reason why. If you ask this question, a trainer should never, ever, ever say that puppies are more defiant or less obedient than adult dogs. They're going through a lot of changes, and learning is very hard for them when they're that young. Make sure that you're choosing a trainer that is setting you and your puppy up for success if you have a puppy. And most importantly, you should be asking, how do they typically teach their dogs to not pull on a leash, and if they use any tools to do it. And this will tell you overall what their style of teaching is. Like I said earlier, some trainers will use aversive tools in their training, And they especially will use it if a dog is pulling on a leash, and they will be sure to tell you that if you ask what they do when a dog pulls on a leash. Loose leash walking, unfortunately, is a thing that means so many different things to so many different trainers. And it's hard to tell who is right. My approach is to teach a dog to respond to the leash pressure and also reward them for keeping slack in the leash. Other trainers will use the same tools that I use, which isn't really many, and use them for punishment instead. If they use tools or not, a reputable trainer will be able to explain why they use the tools they do, if they use any, and what behaviors require the use of tools, because not every behavior does, and not every dog will respond to them. All leash behavior can be self-correcting in a way, and they should be using the least invasive approach when it comes to that self-correcting behavior. For example, if a dog is on a slip leash and they pull, the leash gets tighter, but that's a result of their own pulling, not a result of any correction. A reputable trainer would not add discomfort to an already uncomfortable situation when a dog is pulling. Most importantly, they will be adaptable to an individual dog's learning style and sensitivity to reinforcement or punishment, rather than following one method for every dog, because that typically will not work. And unfortunately, these aren't even every question that you should ask a trainer. These are just the most important questions that you should be asking a trainer in a consultation. And unfortunately, every trainer is going to have a different answer. Every trainer is going to do something a little bit differently than the next. To be quite frank, I don't even know who's going to end up watching this video, but in case there are people who are, and you did enjoy this video and you did find something useful out of it, I want you to ask me any question in the comments, and I'll address it in the next one.